What is going on? Hello and welcome. We are live at 5 for Monk and Lou's happy hour, baby. We are going live before the fight day, getting you everything you need to know to cover your bases for betting, wagering, DraftKings, picks, all that stuff. So I would like to say what's up to my co-host, Lou. What's up? How are you doing?
What's going on? Well, first of all, it is 6 p.m. here, but it is still happy hour on the
Central Time
East
for
Coast.
Life, baby.
Looking forward to this card. I got a lot of time props targeted. There's some weird fights in terms of why is this guy making his debut here, or but this is a really interesting card. We got some bangers coming up and some interesting props I'm going to drop later. How do you do in DFS?
Not too bad. For the lineup, I actually cashed I went pretty much even, maybe like I think it was 5.2% or something. So I did get a little bit of profit, but it was a rough week, man. It was a rough week. Let's see here. Yeah, Computer Monk picked most of the fights incorrectly, so that didn't help. I mean, we had the cheat. I didn't have enough cheaty. I had less Bondar, but no Gordon. So I mean, I had too much Harris. I had Puna. Puna was a big that hurt me on the inside last week. So
yeah,
Puna would have come through. I would have done much better. What about some betting recaps? How'd your bets do last week?
Well, it was good until it wasn't. So Bondar's arms are made of balsa wood. So less said about the better. Phil Rowe, round 2 knockout. You heard it here first in the show.
I mean, come on.
The blind squirrel found the nut. Almeida in the distance. He looked great. Alexis Davis, decision. There was I won't mention names, but there were a couple of tweets that were on TV during that fight that made me a little curious about what they were seeing as opposed to what I was seeing. Barriol, I did not bet that fight, and my lord, thank God I didn't, because that would have been horrible. Dawodu, fight goes the distance. That was in a parlay.
Easy.
That was easy.
Yep.
Castaneda looked great.
He did.
He came on very strong. Steven Peterson decision. Oh, heartbreaker.
So close, man. So close.
When they put the split screen up, I was like, oh God, here we go. Like, I got a chance.
I was bowling with my kids, so I wasn't listening to it. I would bowl, and then I would look over my shoulder at my phone, and I see one of them put their hand up. The other one, I'm like, oh, fuck.
Great fight. Great fight. Like, very entertaining. Great fight. The Trayshawn Gore battle fight, I had the under. That was awful. I mean, that's my mistake. You learn. I did not bet the Sam Alvey fight, except for I had like a tickle on the knockout. Nothing tracked, but yeah, it didn't go great. Carlston Harris was, he got on. Man, Shafkat looked good. I don't hate the bet for the odds. I hate the bet that it lost. Puna, that was terrible. And then Strickland, I had him to complete a parlay. I did have him in the distance, so that one lost. So main card, not great. But the prelims, aside from Bondar, were fantastic. But
how the fuck did that Strickland card go to a split decision? I mean, Jesus Christ, dude.
Good old Sal. I think we can do a little better this week in terms of the bets.
Agreed. And with that, let's go ahead and kick it off. First fight of the night. So I believe I have the correct order this time. William Knight going against Maxim Grisham. Now, thick Willie, man. Even thicker Willie this week. I think he weighed 218, bro.
12
like
pounds
it wasn't
over.
Even close.
Yep.
5'10" for Knight, 73-inch reach. Orthodox fighter, 33 years old. He is 11-2 professionally, 3-1 in the UFC, with most of his wins coming by way of knockout, TKO finish. No sub wins or losses. Maxim Grisham on the other side, 6'3", way bigger, 78-inch reach, way longer, 37 years old, 31-9-2 professionally, but only 1-2 in the UFC. He's got 22 finish wins out of 31 fights and 6 finish losses as well. Why don't you go ahead and start us off this week with this one, if you don't mind?
So this is not a great fight to begin with, and now we have the extra piece of Knight looking way overweight. Now, I know he's saying, "Well, I'm a hero. I took the fight on short notice," but don't take the fight at that point.
Well, in his defense to that, the UFC brass does not like when you say no to a short notice fight. They really don't like that.
Well, I know, and part of that is roster bloat at this point. They have enough guys that would step in. So
yeah,
I don't love this play. I have 2 bets on this. One of them is I'll take Grisham money line at 180, minus 180. It's a parlay piece for one reason and one reason only, and that is a wonderful stat, and that is there's been 5 times there's been a fighter that came in 10 pounds or over for a fight where the fight went on, and that guy has never won. He's 0-5. That is good enough. It's a small set, sure, but it's good enough for me. And to be honest, I wasn't impressed with Knight last time. I don't really, but I have a hard time calling his fights in general. The more important bet I have, get ready for it. The first of 2 loose specials. That's right. The Yam Bag special. And for those of you guys that are watching this for the first time, I like to bet point deductions because I'm a crazy psychotic. And this is a good fight for that because it's going to go the distance on a card where I don't think there's a lot of fights that will. It's going to stay standing. I don't see a lot of grappling. I mean, if Knight could go to the grappling, that's very possible. But it seems like this will be mostly contested on the feet. You get the eye pokes. You get the ball shots. I think there's potential for the penalty. Other than that, I love betting the first fight because we're all excited to watch fights. But you can kind of lay off this one completely. I like Grisham as the side if you have to. But what do you think for DraftKings, my man?
Well, first, Computer Monk has this as the closest lined fight on the entire card. It's technically picking William Knight, but as you can see, minus 100 on both sides, or plus 100, however you want to say that. I'm leaning Grisham though. I really like. William. How slow is William Knight going to be? I mean, he's going to be relying on power. That's it. Hopefully, Maxim can move around that a little bit. But as far as DraftKings go, I mean, Maxim is $8,700. 400 over his average salary. He does score almost 100 points per win, but that is only 1 win sample size. So, I mean, you don't really know what you're going to get here. He has 2 losses, only given up 67.8 points. When he's lost, William Knight only scores 90 in a win. So I'm not really liking William Knight for DraftKings. I'm really not liking, I don't mind when fighters come in 1 to 2 pounds overweight, even if they're missing on purpose. That kind of, I'll throw some money. I won't back down off a couple pound weight miss is what I'm saying. But a 12 pound weight miss, 13, whatever that is.
It's a bowling ball.
Plus that stat that you just gave. Plus, I mean, they had to move it up to heavyweight, first of all, in case you didn't know that. Not you, but the loyal watchers of the show, up to heavyweight. So how's he going to be moving? Neither guy scores, or I should say Knight doesn't score well. Grisham does not give up any points. Yeah, I'm going to be fading this first fight of the night. I don't like playing the first fight of the night on DraftKings anyway. A lot of people say that they do enjoy that. I think it's more of I just want to get back in the game and have some action on the first fight, whether it's DraftKings or otherwise. But as far as fight order, that makes the optimal lineup less than 48% of the time. It's one of the worst on the entire card. So I'm not going to be on this one, I don't think.
It's very curious card placement.
It is. And a couple other ones too. I thought they had, in fact, I saw a tweet that I completely agreed with from Martian and Ozzy podcast. Go ahead and check that out if you haven't. There's a lot of good information there. But I lost my train of thought, of course. Oh, he was saying that they had the main card lineup nailed, and then they go around and take off Kyler Phillips and put on Alexander Hernandez. I don't know what the hell's going on there.
Both are good fights, but and maybe both should have been on the main card to start, but only so many spots. I was
going to say, who are you taking off? I mean, I want Bobby Green on there. I mean, I guess you could move Arlovsky down, but
I could have made an argument that Hernandez should have been at least a featured prelim. Maybe not like opening the show.
Because he was the 4th fight he was closing the early prelims before, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could make that argument that maybe he should have been, and not just from him. Moicano's been very fun to watch. What's up, man? Moicano's been very fun to watch too. So that should be a great fight. But we'll cover that in a little bit. But good for them getting the hometown boy in the main card.
Yeah, for sure. We will go ahead and keep that one moving. I think we both are off of William Knight here. Next fight, Jeremiah Wells going against the man they call Blood Diamond. Wells, 5'9", 74-inch reach, switch stance fighter, 35 years old. He is 9-2-1 in the professionally and 1-0 in the UFC. He has 7 of 9 wins coming by way of finish, and he's never been finished. This one's going to take place at welterweight. Blood Diamond, Izzy's teammate, 3-0 professionally. He is 5'11", so a little bit taller, but a shorter reach than Wells by 1 inch. Also a switch stance fighter. little bit younger, no UFC fights, no Dana White Contender Series. He does have 2 finishes out of 3 fights, 2 finish wins. So he has shown, in 1 sub, 1 knockout. So shown a little bit there. As far as DraftKings, I'm going to be throwing darts all over this fight. I think I'm not going to have a ton of exposure to either guy. Wells did make the optimal lineup in his only fight in the UFC last year. He did come in at $7,000 though, significantly lower than he is this week at $9,100. So you're really paying up here for a guy who's fighting another guy that we don't know what he can do. He seems exciting. He seems like a tremendous kickboxer, striker, etc. But what would you expect, training with Izzy for all these years? But he's 7,100. So I'm going to be throwing darts on this one. I'm not going to say I like Blood Diamond to win because he could absolutely come out here and get starched. But this could be interesting. I just don't know what to expect in this fight. The second fight of the night does make the optimal lineup 54% of the time. The $9,100 salary wins 3 out of 4 times. But yeah, so I might have a little bit of Wells, but I'll probably have an equal amount of Blood Diamond here. What do you got on bets for this one?
Well, the most important thing that I learned in my tape study is that Blood Diamond is not the son of Neil Diamond, the greatest American singer-songwriter of a generation.
Are you serious?
Because if he had been, I don't blindly firing the whole roll.
Well, yeah.
There's not a lot of data points on him. The one thing I know is that some kickboxers have come in, like Pereira did in MSG on the MSG card,
exactly,
who are so good at kickboxing, so elite, that it can make up for their takedown defense. But Michaelitis had gotten him down the first round. He said, "The hell with this! Like I'm done screwing around the second round." I don't think, from what I've seen, and the tape is limited, but from what I've seen with Blood Diamond, I don't see that. I don't see him as an elite. And that's going to be a problem. Now, in all fairness, I am, as a Philly guy, I am going to always support my Renzo Gracie Philly guys. It's a great gym. It's starting to become a very good gym. You got Sean Brady, Sabatini. Yep. I'm sure Felder drives by it. When he's filming Always Sunny. I like what I've seen with Wells. I think on the feet, I think he has an advantage, but it's so close. I feel like this is exactly what I said about Bondar last week. So take that with a grain of salt. This is almost verbatim what I said, but on the ground, if he takes him down once.
Yep.
He's not going to have there's no way he's going to be able to fend off. And if it's multiple takedowns, there's just no way. I like Wells round 1, round 2 on DraftKings, minus 135. It's a way to cut down that line a little bit. I don't see this fight going too long, but I like the flexibility of the round 1, round 2. But also, more importantly, Monk. I talked to somebody yesterday named Monk, and we decided the only thing better than 1 yam bag is double the yam bags.
2 yam bags.
2 yam bags. Got so excited my setup blew up. I'm going with the yam bag special number 2 here. Another point deduction. The reasoning being, Wells is kind of inexperienced and crazy, but we literally, when you have an unpredictable fighter with no data points like Blood Diamond, he named himself Blood Diamond. He makes good life choices. Clearly. You like the ball shots, especially from a kickboxer, the multiple ball shots are in play. Grabbing the cage on a takedown with a guy who has no takedown defense, very much in play. These are things I look for this kind of bet. And it's there, man. It's possible. It's $5. You get 100 back on profit on a $5 bet. That's responsible betting.
It is.
I think. So you got a ball. You're rooting for a foul on the first 2 fights of the night. What better way to start out your Saturday night? A couple of beers and rooting for Bisping. Oh, Bisping's not going to be doing commentary. Well, Cormier will definitely lose his mind with the multiple fouls. So, I like Wells to win. Round 1, round 2 cuts to minus 135. Makes it a way you can bet it, but not a great fight. The under, you can look at the under here too, but I don't think Blood Diamond has the raw skill to put him away.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning. But I just think Wells is a bit too expensive for DraftKings, although I will have him rostered in a few 20 maxes for sure. The only other thing I wanted to say, Wells 0 for 3 on takedowns in his first and only UFC fight. ended up with 64% control time in that fight. And how long did we go? Just over 5 minutes. So he controlled about, over 3 minutes of that fight without landing a takedown. So if he's doing a lot of clinch work, and Blood Diamond's going to be in trouble unless he can stay at range.
Well, look who he's training with too. He's training with Brady, who can wrestle. He's training with Sabatini. Sabatini's. I don't know if I would go so far as to call him elite, but he's training with. I mean, that is a wrestling heavy gym. So he's definitely getting his reps in, and and it seems like they game plan well there. I mean, like, Brady's is picking. Brady picked Wonder Boy. Like he's like, they know what they're doing. They're targeting well, and I think
they like a Jason Witt picking Philip Rowe or something like
that.
I think what are you doing?
I think all they've been working on with Wells is like, dude, get him into the ground. Petrosky, like I didn't mention him. I know people are kind of on the fence about him, but the guy's wrestling is great.
Yep.
Great. And this other guy is like, dude, I'm sure they're game planning for that. If Wells would be crazy to, like, with the pronounced advantage on the ground, he's crazy not to take to the ground.
Absolutely. Yeah, he definitely is not going to stay in range here.
If the fight plan is good, that's what I see happening. And I don't, we'll see. This is no knock. This is no knock on City Kickboxing.
Oh no! I mean, you'd be crazy to start knocking that.
Clearly, a Philly gym is going to be better than any other gym in the world.
That's a
clearly because it's terrible here. So that's all we have to do is
beat each other up.
Gym.
All right, yeah, that's true. Sergey Morizov, third fight of the night, bantamweight fight, going up against Douglas Silva de Andrade. Morizov, 5'6", 67-inch reach, Orthodox fighter, 32 years old, 17-4 record. He is 1-1 in the UFC. He has 11 finish wins out of 17 wins. I know I said wins twice there, but he has been finished 4 times in his career, 3 by sub. Douglas Silva de Andrade, not the guy that's going to sub you. 5'7", 68-inch reach, Orthodox fighter, 36 years old, 27-4. So some big. Lots of experience for both of these guys. 5-4 in the UFC. He has 20 knockout/TKO finishes out of 27 wins and 1 win by sub. How do you see this one going here? It seems pretty, as they say, I can't think of the word. I'm having a brain fart. Go ahead. Tell me. I can't think of the fucking word.
Silva de Andrade is he has one of my favorite trends. He is, and there's going to be another one coming up soon. He is the infamous win-loss guy.
Yep.
So he's due for a loss.
True.
If you look at his losses, he's fought his
Rome
losses
Murphy, Peter Yan.
He's losing to studs. Now, I don't know if Morizov is a stud. He has a great picture though on Twitter of him wearing like this Matador shit. And it's like blue and gold, and like, just take my money, bro. Like, take my money. I think this is linear. He's going to try to go for takedowns. Morizov
That's the word I couldn't think of. Thank you.
What, Matador?
No, linear.
Oh, there you go. Morizov last fight he had 6 takedowns. Silva's got great takedown defense though. Stopped 22 of 23, I believe. But at the end of the day, I just don't think he's kind of a gatekeeper. I think they're putting Morizov in this spot to rise up the ranks. I don't think he gets a finish. I like the decision at plus 110. Money line's -210. It's pretty wide for a guy that I don't think has elite. I mean, Silva's been finished, but the way this is going to play out should be 15 minutes of wrestling if it'll be Morizov's way. Silva's not knocking anybody out. So the pick is Morizov, decision plus 110. What do you got on the DraftKings then? I can only imagine you're playing this one way.
Yeah, pretty much. Morizov 9,000. I'm not really going to be on Silva de Andrade. I do like the salary a lot, 7,200. And actually, yeah, I take that back. I like the salary a lot, and he is going to be. He's only one of like 3 guys that I actually like in the $7,200, $7,300 range or below. I honestly don't see a lot of dogs this week. I know there's a lot of love for some dogs here. I just don't tend to see that. Where am I looking at my salaries here? I don't like Modafferi, Rojo, Martinez, Whittaker, maybe. Dart shot at Blood Diamond. And then you have Silva de Andrade, Charant. And I'm not going to count Tuivasa because I'm going to have a lot of Tuivasa. So I like Andrade better than most of the people at $7,000. I will probably use him to fill out a few lineups if I need to save salary. But as I said on the Wednesday Pub Sports Show for DraftKings, I think this is a week you can leave a decent amount of salary on the table. I mean, you could theoretically get like two of the top $9,000 people and still have, salary on the table. You can combine Casey O'Neill, Kyler Phillips, and who else? Ronnie Lawrence if you wanted. Not all three, but two out of the three, and still have some spots. I just don't know how much room I'm going to have for Morizov at $9,000. I mean, how does he score? Where are my points? He does score a decent amount of takedown points and control time. Silva de Andrade does give up half a takedown point per minute. It tends to get outscored pretty much everywhere. So if you think Morizov is going to be able to take Andrade down, and he's going to do that, I definitely get a couple spots filled by Morizov in your lineup because he could land a few takedowns. And like you said, I think this goes to decision as well. So the more time it lasts, the more time Sergey has a chance to take Andrade down. Like you said, I'm not on the Andrade knockout, even though he has 20 out of 27 wins by that. So I'll have a limited amount of this one, probably about equal, actually. I kind of talked myself into a few more Morizov lineups during this. So I'll probably have about equal.
Is he a bargain basement Ronnie Lawrence on this card?
I mean, he could be, and people probably aren't going to be on him too much. I mean, we have a lot of good options over 9,000. He might get lost in that mix. So, I mean, people see his record 1-1. He's going up against a guy that has 20 knockouts. If that's all they're seeing, Andrade might be over-owned and Morizov could be under-owned. So it could be a good pivot this week for sure.
It's a shame you're not getting like salary relief to take a similar style here.
Yeah. Because you're not getting any relief at 9,000.
Some cards you get like those bargain basement guys that might be like 8,300. You're like, all right, well, he's same game plan. I don't know if he's gonna have the same success, but at least
Absolutely. I mean, so I'm kind of off that one, I guess.
I'm the guy that
a bargain basement Ronnie Lawrence is a good description.
I mean, I did cash like once in DraftKings, so
there you go.
Clearly talking from a pro perspective.
That's why we got you here. Fourth fight.
I'm bargain basement Luke.
Yeah, so there you go. Like... Jacob Malkoun going against AJ Dobson. Fourth fight of the night. Should be the most exciting fight on the card up until this point. Malkoun, 5'9", 73-inch reach, Orthodox fighter, 26 years old, 5-1 professionally, 1-1 in the UFC, and that one he got knocked out, I believe. How fast was that? Like 20 seconds?
18 seconds.
18 seconds by Phil.
But who's counting?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He does have 2 finish wins, no sub wins. Both of his wins come by way of knockout. He is, let's see, a wrestle heavy type of fighter. If I could ever find my stat. Yeah, there we go. One of the highest takedown points per minute on the card. Middleweight fight going against AJ Dobson, 6'1", 76-inch reach, Orthodox fighter, 30 years old, perfect professional record, 6-0. He is not 1-0 in the UFC, but he does have a contender series fight that I am tracking here. 3 wins by knockout, 2 wins by sub. Only 1 fight has gone the distance. I love this fight for DraftKings. I will be, if I could get more than 100% of this fight, I certainly will. 8,000 and 8,200. I mean, these are the perfect scores for guys that can, score tons of points. Malkoun, when he won, scored 114.6, averaged 5.5 points a minute, tons of takedown and striking points, control time points, just racking them up. When he lost to Phil Hawes, as we said, gave up 127. So there are a ton of points going around Jacob Malkoun fights. AJ Dobson, if you would have counted that contender series fight with DraftKings points, he would have scored 128 in his first round finish there. I mean, giving up only 0.83 per minute in that fight, if it actually happened that way. 8 differential. I mean, I love both guys here. The only problem I'm going to have is deciding who I'm going to have more of. Right now, I think I'm leaning Dobson for the early knockout potential, just because we've seen Malkoun get early knocked out by Phil Hawes. As we said, AJ Dobson's got, bricks for hands. That could easily be how this fight ends. If it doesn't, though, Malkoun is going to get takedowns most likely. He's going to get control time. The longer this goes, the more points he puts up. I'm just going to have a hard time figuring out which one to roster more. So that's kind of how I see this one. Who do you like as far as bet wise in this matchup?
Well, what do you do with Malkoun? Because again, you can't have two fights that are more different than this. He gets crushed, and I mean, I didn't even sit down. He's done.
Yep.
And then he looked good. Now Al-Hassan seems to have a vulnerability, and I'm gonna shout out to Uncle Weezy here, my guy. Uncle Weezy and I have discussed how he is like our least favorite fighter on the roster. And we were like doing data stuff the other day. I think with the misspellings of his name, I'm like, oh, there's 4 Al-Hassans. I say that's 4 too many. Like he's just infuriating. So now Malkoun, to his credit, it was a great game plan against Al-Hassan. But man, everything I've seen at Dobson, this guy, he's raw, but holy shit, his hands are like, I mean, this guy is like legendary power. I have Dobson round 1 knockout at plus 400, and I'm not even thinking twice about it because I think I mean, look, say what you want about Al-Hassan, he had a couple of nice wins, but I think Dobson's athleticism, and the thing is this, I think Dobson could, if it's not like he gets taken down once in the first round, he doesn't get up. I think he can get up. Like he's, and I don't have proof to say that. I don't know his get up game for a fact, but just the athleticism he possesses, I would bet on that in a heartbeat. We're gonna have somebody coming up in a couple of fights who I'm betting on for their athleticism as well. I just see Dobson starching him. Like, and I mean, 60-second bonus.
Yeah, and you can't pass that up on DraftKings. You cannot pass up that potential on DraftKings.
So round 1 knockouts plus 400, which is, it's like, honestly, if you look at a guy like Derrick Lewis, round 1 knockout is, I'll look again, but I think it was like, I don't even know if it was plus odds. Might have been like even money because that's his winning condition.
True.
So Dobson, this becomes like get on Dobson while you can, because these lines will not exist as he goes forward. And I think they're going to bring him along like a Paddy Pimblett type where they want to give him, because you got to look at that sometimes. The betting angle is, why are they making this matchup? Like, I realize there's Izzy guys on this card, but sometimes they just want to feature a guy. And I think they want to feature Dobson and just get him out of the gate with like a highlight reel. And I think he's the play. If you want to play Malkoun, maybe Malkoun decision, but I'm not even giving the odds out because I don't honestly believe that's going to happen. I like Dobson round 1 just to crush this fool.
The odds aren't even great for Malkoun by decision. Plus 253. I mean, you're going to be sweating that out.
That's all right, but it's not great. There are better spots for decision wins coming up.
For sure. And with
here
that,
this is going to be an exciting one to debate.
with that, we are on Ronnie Lawrence. What is this, 5th fight of the night? Going against Martinez. Ronnie Lawrence, 5'8", 68-inch reach, switch stance fighter, 29 years old, 7-1 professionally, 1-0 in the UFC, 4 wins out of 7 by way of KO, TKO, 3 decision wins. Martinez on the other side. Let's see, 5'10", so a bit taller and a bit longer of a reach at 70 inches. Orthodox fighter, 25 years old, 9-2 professionally, and also 1-0 in the UFC. I think, let's say you start this one, yeah? Well, sure. You start this one.
So everybody in the Twitterati is on Lawrence, and I understand that. Like, the guy, his wrestling looks pretty good in a limited sample size. And Martinez, we've seen once. Hey, buddy. Martinez, we've seen once. And he didn't look great against 93-year-old Guido Canetti, who may be related to me. I don't know. And I have to go on my Ancestry account and check. But here's the thing. His coach just died. It was like his father figure. It's a young kid, and you don't know his mindset. Like, that's tough, man. Like, he was very emotional afterwards. He hung in there. It was obviously not his best performance. Now, this is going to be one of those fights. Unlike the last one where I said Dobson could probably get up, this may not be the case. If Lawrence gets him down in 30 seconds, we may be looking at 15 minutes of Lawrence just like German suplexing him like Brock Lesnar. It's possible. But if you want to play Lawrence, look, he's minus 305 last I checked on DraftKings. He's a parlay piece at best. I wouldn't even play his decision prop because we don't know Martinez's cardio. So you just don't know. But I'm playing Martinez round 1 knockout. I'm tired of taking favorites tonight. Enough of this. Enough favorites. Go Martinez round 1 KO on DraftKings. It is plus 1,400. I have seen it at plus 1,300 some places. For like both of my fans that watch the show, you're coming here to see me pick favorites. You want crazy bet. And by the way, now we are in the midst of the start of some crazy bets. But round 1 knockout plus 1,400. Look, either I would recommend either betting a quarter unit or all your units. And just say like let's pay the mortgage.
Let's pay for everything forever.
And just to clarify, the reason I like the round 1 KO so much is I really believe this is his only winning condition. If this fight gets out of the first, it probably means Ronnie Lawrence has been ragdolling him. And then there's no live bet opportunity because Lawrence will be, minus 1,000, if maybe. And Martinez will be gassed. So we don't know that Martinez is a gasser. I should say that. But how I envision it if it goes to the second is any human being would be gassed at that point. So I like Martinez round 1 KO. But if you have to play Lawrence, if you believe in him that much, just throw him in a parlay. I mean, there's just no equity taking him. And he's got a lot of question marks too, by the way. His last fight, he missed a weight cut. He had a weight cut issue. Still, and he's inexperienced too. So like I think the line is a little wide. So there's value on the Martinez side, but there seems to be a very clear path for Lawrence. I'm just taking a shot in the dog here because I believe the price. I think Lawrence knocks him out, or Martinez knocks him out in the first, like 3 out of 10 times, to be honest, like not 1 out of 14. So, but I have a feeling you do not agree with this at all.
I'm gonna, it's a chance. Of course, it's a chance. It's a fight, so anything could happen. I'm just looking. Ronnie Lawrence, and it's only a 1-fight sample size, has the best striking accuracy in the entire bantamweight division at 63%. Lands 6.1 strikes a minute. Only got hit with 1.19, has the 6th best striking defense at 67%, landed 8 of 9 takedowns for a takedown landed per 15 minutes of 9.5, the highest in the division, stuffed 2 of them. We look over here at Mana Martinez, decent volume striker, gets hit a ton, some of the worst striking defense in the entire division, sub 40%, has never had a takedown against or whoever he fought, I forget, in his first fight, did not attempt a takedown. I think he's in for a long night here. And I really hope he does have good get up time. I'm praying for it because I just want to have him keep getting up. And like you said, keep getting German suplex. Give me 5 points on repeat for 15 minutes straight, baby. I'm going to have a ton of Ronnie Lawrence on DraftKings. I'm not going like 100%. I'm going like minimum 50, minimum. I'll be over the already inflated ownership of Lawrence. I just think, unless he gets knocked out in the first round, there's no way he doesn't make the optimal lineup here. He's either going to, not either. He's just going to ride him out for 15 minutes, taking him down, beating him up, letting him get up, rinse and repeat. That's how I see this one for DraftKings. I guess I could be talked into rostering Martinez, maybe 1 or 2 lineups in like a 20 max, definitely in a GPP or a MME style tournament. Definitely want to have some of Martinez there, but I wouldn't have a ton, 9-10% maybe. So that's kind of how I see this one. Ronnie Lawrence just scored so well in his first fight. How can you ignore that? Going against, I know Vince Cachero, but Mana Martinez was going against Guido Canetti. So, Martinez scored 75 when he beat Guido in a split decision, and Ronnie Lawrence scored 134 when he smashed Vince Cachero in the 3rd round. So I'm riding Ronnie Lawrence here all day for DraftKings for sure.
Let me ask you a question, because this is a good DraftKings question I have for you, and maybe the audience would like as well. Since knowing that his ownership is going to be so high, You can just ignore my comments I made in the channel, by the way. Knowing his ownership is going to be so high, does this become the situation where like with like a Nunez or a Khabib, where like you're like, I don't really care, I just have to have like, I just can't fall behind the field, and you have to play him. Like, does it become that situation?
I think so, because his ceiling is so high for what he can do and what we haven't seen Martinez. We haven't seen Martinez at all with his grappling in the UFC. So I think his ceiling is so high, you have to play him. If he was, for instance, 9,600, if he was the most, if he was in the Alex Perez spot, which isn't a thing anymore, but if he was at 96,
he was a fatty.
I wouldn't
fatty.
I wouldn't play it
pounds.
at all. I'd never play, like, even the Amanda Nunes Juliana Pena fight. She was so expensive, like, but it wasn't going to pay off. How could you roster that? Here, if he fights the way he did fight in the first fight, I think it could pay off no matter the salary. So that's kind of where I'm at.
I know people like to go different in some spots. As much as I'm picking Martinez because of the odds, like Ronnie Lawrence does seem like his winning condition is like, no, don't finish him. Like, don't finish him until like a second left in the fight.
Yep. Well, and like you said, if you even think it's 30% chance that he loses this fight, that means 70% chance he's going to smash Martinez. I'll take that 70% chance in DraftKings too at the $9,300 salary. I'll put 70% of him in my lineup. I would probably be comfortable with that. And you know what? This is going to kind of be a bang or bust type card. Honestly, unless you're playing 150 max, like I'm going to be rolling deep with some favorites here. And it's gonna be what it is. If one of them loses, then one of them loses. That's just how it's gonna be. But I'm gonna be rolling deep with a couple of favorites here.
Can you put that comment up by Top Knot? Because he's right. Like it's and because we were talking about that earlier. Like, look, I realized that I questioned what Martinez's head was like. He just lost his coach and his like basically his like father figure in his life. No, it wasn't a great performance, but I'm willing to at least give him like another chance. And I think, like I said, 14-1 shot, man. Like to land a lucky punch on a guy who we don't know what his chin is like. 14-1's all right there. If it gets out of the first round, I'm happy. I'll be like, I don't care. Martinez is dead anyway. I'm glad. I'm not going to be like, I wish I had bet a money line. Like that's the only chance he has is like, can he get him out of there with a shot in the first before he gets taken down? You'll know within 30 seconds how this bet went. Like, you'll know.
Exactly. Here's another guy. He's not quite $9,000, but I really think I like him this week for DraftKings. Carlos Ulberg going against Fabio Cherant, light heavyweight fight. Ulberg 6'4", 77-inch reach, orthodox fighter, 31 years old, 3-1 professionally, so not a lot of experience, and 0-1 in the UFC, being dispatched by Kennedy Nzechukwu in the second round in his first fight. 2 wins by knockout. Never been finished. Obviously, he has been finished the one time. Cherant, 6 feet tall or 6'1". For some reason, I don't have a reach here. Southpaw fighter, 27 years old, 7-3 professionally, 0-2 in the UFC. So someone is going to win this fight, whether they like it or not. 5 wins by sub, 1 loss by sub, and 2 knockout losses. Yeah, who do you? I kind of like Ulberg in this spot. I'm not on Cherant. $7,300 this week. He has not scored well over his past 2 UFC fights. 1.17 points. That's the lowest on the card by far. Allows almost, just under 5, basically 4.63. He is over his average salary. He's $400. You're paying up for Fabio Cherant, an 0-2 fighter,
as we all should.
I mean, yeah, of course. He must have been on sale the past couple of weeks or something. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Carlos Ulberg, 8,900, scored 7.04 DraftKings points per minute in his one fight before he got finished. And he is actually $100 cheaper than he was in his last fight. So not a huge, deal breaker there. Coming in a little cheaper than average. Has a giant DraftKings points differential. I mean, this weight class finish, it makes the optimal lineup rather at 51% of the time. 56% of the time, the 6th fight makes the optimal. I mean, 8,900 wins, 63%. It's not the best salary, but I really like Oberg here. I mean, if we knew that Fabio Cherant was going to come in and grapple, which is his path to victory, it's clear as day, then I probably wouldn't be anywhere close to as high as I will be on Oberg. And I would have some Cherant. But as for now, I'm going to have pretty much zero Cherant in DraftKings. If we're doing GPPs like big 150s, yeah, I might have 10 lineups with him, maybe. But until he's shown, I mean, that's what he does is grapple. He has scored no takedown points in the UFC. He scored no control time points, no reversal points, just 1.17 striking points per minute. That's it. That's all he has shown. So I don't know. I don't even know how you could want to roster him here. He has shown you absolutely nothing in 2 fights. I mean, 37% striking defense, 0% takedown defense. Like, get out of here. Carlos Oberg, I mean, theoretically, I see him just, I think this is going to be an early finish. I'm going to be all over Oberg this week. Probably not as high as like Casey O'Neill or Ronnie Lawrence, who we just talked about, but I will have 35% minimum probably of Carlos Oberg. I really like this spot against Cherant. And like I said, one of these guys is going to have to win this fight. I just don't see how if Cherant is going to do it. What are you thinking for this one? Any lines stick out in this one?
Well, here's the weirdest part of this for me is that apparently, Oberg, this is one for the ladies. Oberg is not my type, but I like him more rugged. Maybe I like him more rugged, but the ladies like Laura Senko was like losing her fucking shit over this guy. And then Cherant and ready to fight. And I'm like, okay, that's what the hell's going on? These are weird. This is a weird tweet for this fight. Because this matters for the betting. Cherant is terrible. I mean, he's awful. You got to play Oberg, and you got to play Oberg round 1 because that's Cherant's. We're talking about winning condition. Cherant's losing condition is not getting just knocked out in the first. So I would say just Oberg round 1. It's horrible odds. I think it was plus 130.
Oh,
but here's what I'm going to say. That's because maybe it'd be a little different. Oberg should just murder this fool. But if this fight gets out of the first, at the very least, take a peek at what Cherant's live odds are. Because if this guy is 10-1 to start the second, and you see Oberg, use your judgment. But if you see Oberg at least, look.
Jaw hanging open, maybe.
I mean, Nchukwu has proven he's kind of limited too. But, if Oberg seems like he is just through the tank and didn't get him out of there, A, it means he's a terrible striker. And B, Cherant becomes live. Because what if Cherant does get a take? I mean, I'm saying is don't put a lot of money on Cherant. But if he's 10-1 after round 1 live against Oberg, who has shown maybe he doesn't have cardio 15 minutes, it's worth a shot. To me, the bet is Oberg round 1. But be willing to pivot.
For sure. And I think he might have gotten, I don't know this for a fact. I'm just looking at stats and making assumptions. Sometimes it's a stretch to get from point A to point B, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say he gassed out in that first fight because he threw 27 significant strikes per minute. 27. I've never seen a number that high.
I'm gassed hearing that.
He landed 17 and a half of them. I mean,
he was hitting and shoot. I mean, he looked good until he didn't.
Arms got tired. He got caught. I don't know what happened, but he probably doesn't know either because that ended pretty brutally.
I do have over 3.5 ladies will faint in the crowd at minus 120.
Ooh, that's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, I like to quantify that, but apparently the guy is like The Rock, just with less talent.
No.
Well, The Rock is probably the most talented human being on the planet, says his bank account.
That's true. Also, he's probably going to be president one day, so there is never going to be a bad word said about.
I'll remember when I booed him. I'll remember when I booed him against Stone Cold Steve Austin. Thank you very much.
Next fight, and this one, Hank from the main card, like a thief in the night. Kyler Phillips going up against Marcelo Rojo bantamweight fight. Phillips, 5'8", 72-inch reach, orthodox fighter, 26 years old. And I mean, this guy sure knows his way around a bottle of Pantene Pro V. I tell you that much. As a bald man, I like being bald. I enjoy it. Man, I might want to try that hair out one day. 3-1 in the UFC, 9-2 professionally. He has finished 6 of 9 professional fights. So yeah, pretty good rate there for finishes. Marcelo Rojo on the other side, 5'8", 71-inch reach, orthodox fighter, 33 years old, 16-7 professionally, 0-1 in the UFC. Let's see, 14 of his 16 wins have come by way of finish. So we got a couple of finishers here. I will go ahead. Actually, I'll let you go ahead and start this one since I led off the other one. How do you, what kind of lines are you looking at for this one? Because I'm pretty much on one side of this.
So if for you guys that are not following me on Twitter, shame on you, number one, because I kind of funny at times. This is one I have a parlay. I have a 2-leg parlay. The I don't know if I should say the name on the air. You know, it's your channel, but the say the Holland Tunnel hand job parlay of the day, sponsored by CJ's Air Purifiers. CJ, when you need hot air, you go to CJ. So I have this bet 4 ways. I love this fight. Phillips in the distance. By the way, all of these are 3 of them are Phillips, and then 1 is basically Phillips. Phillips in the distance is minus 150, a little juiced, but keep in mind that let's keep in mind Kyler Phillips should be coming off either a win if you had a ref that would have stopped the fight against Paiva, because most refs would have stopped it. This is no knock on Paiva, man. He was tough.
That first round could have been a 10-8 easy.
No, that's the problem. And then the second end of it is, at worst, it should have been a draw.
Yep.
Because that was a 10-8. And credit to Paiva, man. Man, he was tough. And Paiva was so tough that I was stupid enough to bet him to beat O'Malley. So I'm an idiot. They're not all winners here. But I like Phillips in the distance here. He's got him on the feet. He's definitely got him on the ground. He's got him covered in all areas. I like the minus 150. You could play under 2.5 at minus 165 to cover you in case Rojo, because Rojo, he's not going to wilt and play like some passive game. So the under 2.5 kind of covers you, but these are minus bets. There's no fun in that. So no. Phillips round 3 is plus 800, which is interesting because I'm just looking at the comments. So Phillips plus 800 is really interesting because I always like to look at the round props because, again, you can play some small bets on these things. Plus 800 is very low for a round 3 prop in general. But if you look at Rojo's last 3 fights, his last 3 losses, lost in the 3rd round, lost in the 3rd round, lost in the 3rd round. 2 of them by sub. Now, Phillips so I like Phillips plus 800. Oh, it's GC, you are just in time. You're hearing the first leg of this parlay. Kyler Phillips, well, he doesn't have subs on his record. His grappling's good. And Rojo has, when you have 3 losses, your last 3 losses are 3rd round losses, that's a good trend. That means you guess. Like Ewell. I hit on Gatto with Sarge. Some fighters just got nothing. And Rojo seems to fight a style where he has nothing in the 3rd round. So I think Phillips gets him out in the 3rd at plus 800. But in terms of the Holland Tunnel handjob parlay, leg 1, Kyler Phillips, round 3 submission against a guy who has subbed 2 out of his last 3 times, quit in the 3rd round. Kyler Phillips with his wrestling, round 3 sub, plus 3,500 odds. That's juicy. And it's and do I think it happens 1 out of 3? Yes, because if Rojo is a tired fighter and he has proven that he is, by the way, the only guy that didn't submit him is Charles Jourdain, who doesn't know how to submit anybody.
Right. He just knocked him out instead.
Yeah, exactly. So, to me, if he's tired and they're in a grappling exchange, the back's there, the neck's there. Look, Kyler Phillips wants to finish. He's not well, I have to punch him out. If it's there, it's there. And, for all this talk about Phillips' cardio, again, in his last fight against Paiva, yeah, he knew he had the guy Like most refs would have just called the fight. He exhausted the tank going for the finish. But in the third round, he hung in there. Paiva just showed like an unreal level of toughness. But I didn't think Phillips looked terrible in the third. He didn't look great. But Rojo has looked, he's to get me the hell out of here.
Yep.
What do you got here? I mean, I imagine you are not on the Rojo train.
No. In fact, if I was going to roster Rojo, I might put him in a couple lineups just as a fade of Phillips late. But like you said, I think he burnt himself out in that first round because he thought he had the finish and just didn't come to fruition here. His salary is pretty high, 1,000 over his average salary at 9,400. He is scoring well per minute, but when he wins in his 3 fights, only 87 points. So if you're going to play Phillips this week for 9,400, you better hope and think that he's going to finish Rojo early, or at all, just really at all. He just needs to get into triple digits somehow.
Finish him in the third.
Yeah, I mean, that's I was going to say, got to finish him early, but we are rooting for that bet as well. So, I mean, obviously, 9,400 is very expensive. Did not make the optimal lineup in either of his 2 fights last year. So not scoring particularly well. How does Rojo score when he loses? Well, in his 1 loss, he gave up 117 points, which is very telling. This salary, 6,800, only wins 75% of the time. The $9,400 salary wins just over that at 75.86. Computer Monk really likes Phillips here. I think this is the widest line that it picked this week. I'm just going to be a little, well, I don't know. What do you think I think ownership probably going to be 25 to 35% on Phillips just because he is priced so high. I'll probably be right around there. I'm going to mix him up a lot with Casey O'Neill and why do I keep forgetting the other 9? Ronnie Lawrence. So I'm probably going to put a group of some kind with those 3 fighters in and just say pick one for each lineup. So I'm kind of on the Phillips side. I think he gets it done inside the distance. So that's kind of where I'm leaning on this one. The price is just a little bit high for me, especially compared to his average.
Yeah, you got to make a stand, I guess, on certain, you got so many guys in the 9,000 range that like, it's almost good. I don't know if it's good or bad for you that like Perez is out of here. Like that's another guy you don't have to worry about.
I honestly was going to have none of Perez. He's way too expensive. He probably would have finished Schnell early. That was my thought, but I'm glad that one's not.
I mean, it is his nickname is Danger.
That's true.
And it's, it's, so he should be in like the new Jackass movie, like with is it Ethan Danger McInerney or,
Oh yeah. Those guys are getting a little bit up there in age. So they'll
can I tell a quick funny thing with that?
Absolutely.
So I went to college at I don't mind telling you. Like I went to college at Ursinus, which is in like the King of Prussia area in Pennsylvania, not far from where the Jackass guys grew up. I'm old. They were not prominent yet. And guy in our house, like the house that like we lived in, not a frat house, just they threw us in a stupid house because freshmen were like friends with all these guys and we didn't know who they were because nobody knew who they were, but like Bam and Ryan Dunn, all these guys would come up and all I knew is like they're just drinking my beer and I'm like and like they're friends with this dude Pete. I'm like, hey, Pete, are your friends ever gonna like, can they give us money? Like, I mean, we're not like, they're just like, they're crushing like cases of our beer on a Friday night and they're like, and they're in the parking lot like doing skateboard tricks. Like, I mean, it was cool to watch, but like, dude, you're like, dude, we need, like, you just drank like 5 cases of our beer. Like, hey, bro. So like seeing them on TV, I'm like, cool. Now they can pay me.
Exactly.
Now they owe me for the $8 of Natty Ice that they were stealing from me in college.
Right.
We weren't rich enough to get Yingling. We had to get Natty and Stroh's, which is a 36 pack. The beer lovers pack, by the way, guys.
The beer lovers pack.
All right. Sorry about that.
Marketing.
Hey, GC, stay tuned because here comes the second end of it.
Oh, we got a lock of the night fight right here. If there ever has been one, I tell you that much. Casey O'Neill, women's flyweight fight going against Roxanne Modafferi, the retiring Roxy Happy Warrior. Casey O'Neill, 5'6", 69-inch reach orthodox fighter, 24 years old, perfect 8-0 professionally, and a perfect 3-0 record in the UFC. 5 out of 8 wins coming by way of finish. Roxy on the other side, 5'7", 69-inch reach, orthodox fighter, 39 years old, 25-19. She is 4-7 in the UFC. 9 wins out of 25 professional wins have come by way of finish. There's not much to say here for me as far as DraftKings. I will have 0% Roxanne Modafferi, and I'll have a ton of Casey O'Neill, probably in that 40 to 50% range, like I was saying, in that top tier group. Real quick, she scores the most DraftKings points per minute on the card, gives up 4 points less than that per minute, coming in pretty expensive, but she has the number 1 value on the card, most DraftKings points per win. If you didn't hear me on Wednesday, she was the number 1 DraftKings player in all of UFC DraftKings last year. The number 1 player, 3 of 3 fights she made it. She scored like 380 points in 3 fights. Outstanding. So how the hell could you fade Casey O'Neill coming up against Roxanne Modafferi, who's retiring, who's probably already, out the door as far as, really wanting to be in there in the cage one last time. Yeah, she's going to come out and have fun with it. Probably she's talking about throwing spinning elbows and doing all the shit that she never could do in her other fights. I don't think, first of all, I don't think she's going to do that. And second of all, I think Casey O'Neill is going to be too much for her. And even if you don't think that, listen to this here. The $9,500 salary hasn't been used a ton, but it has a winning percentage of 82.35%. That is one of the highest it is actually the highest if you don't count the 6,500, which has 100% salary. Thanks, Juliana Pena, for ruining that stat. The Roxanne Modafferi salary, 6,700. It has 1 win out of 18 times it's been used, and that was Chris Gritzmacher going up against, I believe, Rafa Garcia, if I remember correctly. So it has one time out of 18 fights, and it has never made the optimal lineup. It is the only salary the DraftKings has used to have not made the optimal lineup since the beginning of 2021. So if you want to go against the line odds, if you want to go against the DraftKings odds, if you want to go against all the crazy salary voodoo odds I just gave you, you're on your own on that one. I'm going to have none of Roxanne Modafferi. What do you is the betting line different? Are you going to be betting Roxanne Modafferi this week, Lou?
No, I mean, I hate money, but or I'm about to lose a friend. I mean, I get it. Like,
yeah.
I get it. But yeah, I mean, I've heard some people like talk about that. Maybe O'Neill's unpolished, and I understand that. Like, that Roxy's been around. O'Neill is going to be fighting for the title in the next 12 months. A, because they don't have a lot of contenders, but B, she has raw athleticism.
Yep.
That you can't quantify. It makes up for
that weight class.
It makes up for her technique. She's so strong, and and the way she just comes forward, she's like, so what's Roxy going to do? Is Roxy going to catch her on an exchange? No. Roxy's best chance is maybe a grappling exchange, better jiu-jitsu, like maybe she catches her, but I don't like, O'Neill to me is just, she looks like the future. So,
agreed.
So, I'm not picking O'Neill minus 400 because that's terrible. I do have 2 bets though on this. Of course I will name drop because me and him are friends. Tajik is good for 2 things among being a pretty cool dude. 1, he's good at getting all his tweets through on TV. I don't know how he does it, but I need to
truly the goat.
I need to grease a little of palms. But number 2, Tajik stands by his bets all the time, and every once in a while he drops some goddamn bomb. And he has, I don't know what number, I'm not going to say it on air. You go to follow Tajik Bey and find out. But he is heavy on O'Neill in the distance. And and look, I'm a fight fan. I do analysis, but see a dude dropping that much money that I respect. Okay, I'm in. Yep. And the second leg of the hand job Holland Tunnel parlay sponsored by CJ's Air Purifiers is Casey O'Neill round 2 knockout for 2 reasons. I don't see her as a sub threat, and Roxy's really tough to sub. Casey goes for knockouts. Her last 4 wins, 2nd round knockout, 2nd round knockout, 3rd round knockout against Procopio, but barely into the 3rd, second round knockout. Now, before that seems like an obscure thing, O'Neal, maybe she takes a little bit to warm up. In fact, I've seen her lose the first, like she just takes some time. But by that second round, she's like ready to go. And she's inflicted enough damage by the end of the first. The round 2 KO is plus 900. If you play round 2, it's like plus 550, I believe, last time I saw it. Not terrible, but it's not plus 900.
No.
So I just, while we were talking, posted the tweet with proof of the bet that I put in yesterday. And it is $27, I believe, $27.78. O'Neal round 2 knockout plus 900. Phillips round 3 sub plus 3,500 will pay you in profit 10,000 and 80 cents.
We going Sizzler if this shit hits, boy. I tell you that
Which,
much.
by the way, in my day, you could get a gallon of gas for 80 cents.
True.
Now you can get one cigarette, maybe.
If you're lucky. Hey, the last thing I'll say about this fight.
Can you bring up Big Show's comment? Because I think this is important. I think this is an important thing. We talk about vet savvy.
Mm-hmm.
She does have vet savvy, and she does adjust. I think she uses her intelligence well. So all that being said, hey, GC, go follow Lou Betya, and you'll see it right away. I think Casey is that good. I believe in her talent that much that I think I'm not even using the retirement angle. Like, I'm not. I just think Casey O'Neal is that talented and athletic that she is going to just mow through her. If this goes into the third, maybe Roxy summoned some kind of weird demon spell. but man, like I just think O'Neal is just
dude. She
is going to be a champion in the UFC in the next 2-3 years. Like that's how good I think she is.
She lands 3.83 takedowns per 15 minutes. Roxanne has a 25% takedown defense in her career. But if you go on the last 5, just the last 5, Roxy's takedown defense is 12.5%. 12.5. To Casey O'Neal still at 50% takedown accuracy, 3.83 minutes in her last 5, or per 15, I should say. But yeah, 12.5% takedown defense. Not good. I mean, that's not, if you know anything about numbers and that 100 is the max percent you can get and 12.5 is not anywhere close to that, that's not good. Next fight of the night.
I clearly hate numbers, but some of the only numbers I like have a plus sign in the beginning of.
That's true. Next fight, Andre Arlovsky. Heavyweight match going up against Jared Vanderaa. Arlovsky, 6'3" years old, 6'3" years old. I'm already thinking about his age. 6'3", 77-inch reach, orthodox fighter, 43 years old. My goodness. Jared Vanderaa, 6'4", 80-inch reach, orthodox fighter, 29 years old. So significant. 14 years younger, almost 13 and some change. Arlovsky, 32-20 in the UFC, or professionally, 21-14 in the UFC. 20 wins by way of finish out of 32. He has been finished 13 times though. Jared Vanderaa, 12-6 professionally, 1-2 in the UFC, 50% knockout rate, has a couple of wins by sub. Check this out. Let's see. They've been finished 4 fights plus 13 fights. Makes that what? 17 fights they've been finished in. In how many losses is that? 26. So 17 out of 26 losses, these two guys have been finished. Why don't you go ahead and get us started here with some lines?
So Arlovsky is 42, which, by the way, nothing wrong with being in your 40s. But Arlovsky probably at this point should not be a favorite over anybody. I mean, I get it. Like, he's a legacy guy. And look, Arlovsky's tough. He's very tough to put away. But Arlovsky should probably not be a favorite.
Probably not.
That speaks to how crappy Vanderaa is.
Yeah, exactly.
And I want to like him because it's weird. I've seen improvement from him, but I feel like I'm going to make 2 pro wrestling references in this thing, by the way. He's the curtain jerker. He's the Coco Beware. He's the Brooklyn Brawler. He's the guy they put against the guy they're pushing that can be like, I'll make you look good. Because Vanderaa is a big dude, and he comes forward. Like, he doesn't like immediately just walk back to the cage. He's coming forward, but he just doesn't have skill. The skill set isn't there, and maybe it's just not for him. Arlovsky has been grappling a lot lately. Now, not in the UFC. He's been grappling in All Elite Wrestling, AEW, because he's part of Dan Lambert's stable of top team guys. And no joke, like, so Arlovsky just had a pro wrestling match. He was in like
Dana's letting guys go out here and wrestle professionally.
Well, I mean, I think it's like Arlovsky does Santos, and so it's like guys that, like, he's like, all right, dude, I'm not worried about you getting hurt. Well, they're okay, but Arlovsky looked good, and like pro wrestling's not easy. Like, for a guy that's never done it, like, he looked good. So could Arlovsky take Vanderaa down here, which is Vanderea's hugest weakness? Like, that's all you have to do. Romanov took him down. It's like, okay, done. Bye. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't think Arlovsky's going to, like, this fight's going to decision. So the bet is Arlovsky decision at plus 150. I'm actually shocked that's plus.
That's a good number. That line's come way down.
That number's crazy. Like, I'm shocked that's plus 150.
That's crazy.
Because Arlovsky's just, is he knocking anybody out at this point in his career?
No.
So his winning condition is he wins a decision. Now, I want to get to this in the next fight. Be very careful betting decision props this week. We are in Texas. Thank you, Big Show. Thank you, Big Show. I appreciate that.
It's a good point.
Arlovsky's going to win. He's going to win, and the way he's going to win is by decision. And plus 150 minus, like, that line is wide considering, like, his money line versus his decision. It was minus 165, I think, last time I checked, versus plus 150. Like, Bobby Green, his money line and his decision prop, it's like the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But why isn't that the same case for Arlovsky? So to me, that tells you, like, the only reason it's not Arlovsky's, like, powerful all of a sudden. It's they think Vanderaa is finishable.
Exactly.
But I don't think he's finishable.
I don't think
from Arlovsky. From Arlovsky, he's not.
Right.
Because Arlovsky's not a wrestler. Wrestlers can finish Vanderaa because he has no answer. I think it's going to be 3 rounds for Arlovsky dancing around him, like 40-12 in the strike department every round. and then we move on. And then Arlovsky keeps his job and gets like, look, man, I don't want him to fight for the title because there's top 3 or 4. I don't want him to die. Like,
right.
But is Arlovsky good enough for these guys to be like, that aren't going to, like, wrestle? Absolutely. Arlovsky's taken no damage the last couple of years. Like, he really hasn't. So
no, he got subbed by Aspinall, so it's not like he got knocked out.
He's tap, get out. Thanks for the money. Let's go. So what do you got? I can't imagine you're playing this at all.
No, I will have probably 0% of this. I don't like anything about it. I mean, I guess I have to give you some stats. If you missed the Wednesday show, neither guy scores very well. 2.24 points per minute for Arlovsky, 2.1 for Vanderaa. That is very bottom of the card pretty much. These guys don't even score 90 points when they win, and we've got a good sample size, especially from Arlovsky. That's 21 fights. He averages 88 points a win. Vanderaa did give up 105, or does give up 105 when he loses. But how is he losing here? By knockout. Like we just said, Arlovsky's not going to knock. I mean, that's a very small percentage, in my opinion, a very small probability that Arlovsky knocks out Vanderaa, and I'm probably not going out on a limb there. I don't like much about this fight. When Arlovsky does finish, he does score well, but who was I listening to earlier? I might have been Lucrative. Shout out Lucrative. I was listening to his podcast, and he said something like, Arlovsky hasn't won by finish in 20 fights. I think that's what.
But that might have been 4 years ago with how often he fights.
Yeah, true. But either way, I mean, I'm a stat guy. I'm a probability guy. That automatically says, oh, Arlovsky's going to win by decision. I'm not going to be anywhere on this fight. My stats back that up. They actually do like the salaries a little bit if you're playing salary voodoo, but not this week. There's 14 fights now. I mean, there's so many more people who have such a much higher ceiling possibility than either of these guys. I'm going to be playing absolutely 0% of this one. You got anything to add to that?
No, I do not.
Before we move on to a fantastic, well, I love watching Bobby Green. Bobby Green going up against Nasrat Haqparast. This is a lightweight fight. Bobby Green, 5'10", 71-inch reach, orthodox fighter, 35 years old, 28-12-1 professionally. He is 9-7-1 in the UFC. Let's see, 18 out of 28 wins have come by way of finished, only been finished 4 times. Nasrat Haqparast, 5'10", 72-inch reach, so about the same size. Southpaw versus orthodox here, 26 years old, so 9 years younger than Bobby Green, almost to the day. 13-4 professionally, 5-3 in the UFC. He has 9 knockout wins out of 13, no sub wins, and he has been subbed 1 time. I love Bobby Green here. I'm going to be fading Nasrat Haqparast. I absolutely love Bobby Green at 8,400, so you barely have to pay up to get him. He scores very well per minute. He scores very well in decision, and I'm not going to necessarily be rostering Green in big GPPs, but I will absolutely be playing Green in most cash lineups. I mean, this guy averages 92 points per win. You're like, oh, that's not too many, but then look down at his decision number. He averages at 92 points when he wins by decision, 92 by sub, and 109 when he wins by knockout. So he really is scoring. The only one he doesn't score well in is split decisions, which, as you mentioned, we are in Houston, so you know the more decisions that go.
Hey, don't steal my fire.
Yeah. Well, pretend I didn't say that. Let's just go back. So yeah, he scores well per win. He does not give up any points when he loses. The second best number on the card, 68.37. Nasrat does not score well, 82 points in a win, and that's over 5 wins. So I mean, just those stats alone, I'm going to be fading Nasrat here and playing Bobby Green in cash. I'm probably not going to have a ton of this in bigger tournaments. If I did have some, it would probably be a bit of Green. I mean, I would say Nasrat, a couple lineups just for variance sake, but honestly, I don't think he can do anything against Bobby Green. He's shown in his last few fights he cannot stop takedowns. He doesn't land any takedowns, so he has no wrestling game that he's shown anyway. He got taken down 3 times by Dan Hooker. I mean, Dan Hooker made him look like like he wasn't even in there with him. I mean, it looked like they shouldn't have even been in the same cage. So I really like Bobby Green. He's tough as nails, almost impossible to finish. Tons of decision wins and losses. So I think this one's going to decision. And I just think Bobby Green's way too tough for Nasrat. What do you think? Do you agree with that?
So what's Bobby Green's decision percentage against non-realtors?
Ooh,
is it like 100%?
Might be, yeah.
Do we have that stat?
I got to wait for Remax to get back to me.
So, I mean, look, it's simple. It's Bobby Green. Like, this is what he does. It's the only problem you have with what's funny is I have nothing to say about Haqparast. There's no offense to him. He's a very middling, like, he's okay. But it's Bobby Green. Like, that's what you look at. And here's the problem with Bobby Green. You like to talk about minute winners, or like, we've heard that, we win that term. For whatever reason, the judges just goddamn hate Bobby Green. They hate him. So
because he painted his face that time. They don't like that.
So like, here, perfect example. I was talking about like a couple of these money line versus decision props today. Bobby Green was like minus 150. His decision is plus 120. That sounds about right. Because they're like, well, he did, and that's weird, because if he hadn't knocked out Iaquinta, it's probably not even 70,
right?
Like 7 dimes wide, like it is. Here's the bet I like. First of all, if you're going to play Green, if you're scared of the decision, he's a reasonable price to play straight, playing a parlay. I like Green here because one of my favorite things I like, one of my favorite fighters I like, and I said it last week, but nobody knew we were even on, so I'm just going to say it again. Because this gives you guys an idea who I am as a fight fan. Like, my favorite guys are the guys that fight for your money in the 3rd round. Like Billy Quarantillo is one of my guys. Darren Elkins, except for his last fight. Love Darren Elkins. Like, old school cowboy, Cerrone. Like, these are my guys. Like, fight for my money. And Bobby Green, like, he fights for the 3rd round. He's there, man. He is there throwing bombs. He's talking shit. Like, he's like, let's go, bitch. Like, what more do you, like, we're fight fans. What more do you want than a guy in the 3rd round who's like, let's fucking go? Like
That
he's
Fiziev
that
fight
guy.
was so good.
And like Fiziev won the fight, like and he knew it. But I'll tell you what, that wins that decision loss is going to age really well with how good Fiziev. Fiziev is very good.
R.I.P. to the Fiziev fight next week. He got moved.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, well now we got Parker Porter against Alan Badeau on the main card. Thank you. We all need breaks from like fun cards. So anyway, the point is Bobby Green's my type of fighter. So my favorite bet. So if you're gonna bet Green, bet him. Decisions plus 140. Honestly, you're not getting a lot better equity to take that. Maybe you're better off taking the 150. But Bobby Green has lost some weird decisions. But we're in Texas, so it's the opposite. Bobby Green, by split majority decision, coming in hot at plus 650.
Ooh.
And like, it's funny. I know this is like a weird prop bet. It's his winning condition. Is winning by a split decision. Because the judges just weirdly don't like him. Like they just, I mean, if you go on like MMADecisions.com and look at like his results versus like what they think, he should be like 20-2. I mean, it's crazy. People are like, nah, he won that fight.
It's because it's probably because he talks. They don't like that shit either. It's
also
weird what judges goes through their head, man.
And look, no offense to like Hawkcroft seems like a super nice guy. He does.
Sure.
Who do you want on that post-fight interview?
Right.
Who want Bobby Green like flinging truths?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. And that's really what I think. I like the Bobby Green by decision. I like that.
Got nothing more to add to that one.
Well, we will move along and let you talk about Renato Moicano going against Alexander Hernandez. Moicano, 5'11", 72-inch reach, Orthodox fighter, 32 years old, 15-4-1 professionally, 7-4 in the UFC. 8 wins out of 15 by submission. He has been finished 4 times in his career, all 4 losses by way of finish. Lightweight fight in this one, Alexander Hernandez, 5'9", 72-inch reach, Orthodox fighter, 29 years old, 13-4, 5-3 in the UFC. He has 8 finish wins out of 13 fights, only been finished 2 out of his 4 losses. What do you got for us in this one?
You know how I mentioned earlier, I look for these like win-loss guys.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go again. Yep. Alex Hernandez, due for a loss. And who did he beat? Mike Breeden?
Yeah. Like,
no offense to Mike Breeden. By the way,
he's beaten Trinaldo, Gritzmacher, and Breeden in his last 5.
Yeah, look, this is not a knock on Breeden. He'd probably murder me. Like, could he outdrink me? No. But like, would he kick my ass? I'm sure he would. Oh, that's an interesting question.
I like 165 men right there. That's a needed division.
Now, it's curious. Well, are you asking because of Kayla Harrison? Is that the reason?
She's 165. Oh my god.
No. She's not. No, she fights lower. But like, I just wonder like if he's asking that because Kayla's kind of limited right now. We should do a show about like that whole thing right now because I am like massive, huge fan of her as a human. Like, dude, she's like her story is like really cool. But anyway, we're here for fight analysis. This is a great fight. Hernandez is the hometown boy. He bitched and moaned about being on the prelims, and now here we are. This fight goes one of 2 ways. There is Hernandez first round potential. Like there's absolutely him coming out and starching Moicano. I don't know the fight where he like did the fake handshake and like pulled his hand away.
Yeah, that was people hate his ass for that shit.
Okay, well then you know what happened after that? My boy, my uncle, Cowboy, came out and like mopped the floor with him.
Oh yeah, and he's
never been the same. Well, because he had an attitude, and he's kind of shown he still has a lot of immaturity. So I realized that like Hernandez, like by knockouts, popular. He's a hometown boy. I get it. Moicano, man, like look, Moicano is like predictable as you get. The guys he loses to are like elites. The guys he beats. Forget about the Jai Herbert fight. Jai Herbert stinks. They put Jai Herbert against Karma Worthy. Who'd they give Jai Herbert last time? Was it Karma Worthy?
I think so. I can't remember off the
They
top
gave
of
him
my
like
head.
a loser leaves the league fight. Like, congratulations. Like, you beat the only guy with like a worse chin than you. So,
Yeah, comma worthy.
like, I think Hernandez is okay. And he does have some skills. But Moicano, man, like, again, his losses are to like Aldo. All right. He's all right. Like,
Yeah,
he lost to
he's
Rob
good.
Font. He's losing
Chan Sung Jung, Fizayev.
Yeah, his losses are like, you should lose. You should probably lose to those guys. But they're close. Like, I think first of all, Hernandez, the big skill set is this. If this fight goes to the ground, and I'm stealing this from Wheezy a little bit, but I did research it. The only guy that's ever taken Hernandez down or tried to take him down, aside from like one takedown a fight, is Bob Mercier.
Mm-hmm.
And Mercier took him down and this is a long time ago. Mercier took him down a bunch of times. Now, I don't know what you guys think about like Canadian gangsters, but I'm from Philly and I'm like, so you can probably guess my opinion on that. I like Mercier a lot, but if Mercier can control you the whole fight and dominate you, maybe you're not like an elite level guy. Moicano has elite level skills, like on the ground. If he chooses to enact that, he wins easily. I like the under 2.5 minus 120 because it gives you Hernandez with a flash knockout, but it covers the second end of my bet, which is Moicano sub plus 240. Because he's not knocking you out. Moicano is not knocking you out. The 240 sub is very live, and Hernandez has shown is very questionable cardio.
Yep.
So this fight gets extended. I talked about the Phillips fight, the neck, the back's there. And we hope he's going to go for a sub with my crazy bet.
Oh, yeah. Round.
Moicano will literally go for the neck and the back. That sub at plus 240 is live. And Moicano has great cardio. Like, fantastic cardio. So, what do you think? This is a great fight for DraftKings, dude.
I think so. The only thing
tough fight for DraftKings.
For sure. The only thing that stops me from wanting to go more on Moicano, and clearly I typed this in wrong, Moicano, is the fact that he's been knocked out in 3 of his 3 past losses. I mean, he's 2-3 in the UFC in his past 5, and he's been knocked out first round, beginning of the second round by Aldo. I mean, in all 3 of those, all 5 of his last 5 UFC fights have ended by way of finish. Meanwhile, 3 out of 5 for Hernandez have all ended by finish as well. 2 wins and 1 loss to Drew Dober, where he got absolutely just smashed. Oh, Dober hit him with a cannonball in his hand.
Dober was on a roll at the time. It's
true.
He's hard to quantify because Dober had like almost like a 1.2 year run of godliness.
Yep.
And then he's back to being
he
like
looked good against who did he fight? I don't remember who he fought. I want to say Steven Peterson, but that's not right. I just can't remember the guy's name. But that was a hell of a fight, and I like Drew Dober to keep doing things for a while here. But as far as Moicano, $8,500. I mean, you're getting a 94 points per win. It's not great. You do get a lot of points when he submits you. 114.7 average DraftKings points in sub win. So I do like that. He does score pretty well as far as decisions go. 42. So what's that? 3 out of 7 wins. He has scored over 110 points. So I really like the ceiling for Moicano. I'm going to have some of him for sure. But then you look over at Hernandez, who scores a few more points in DraftKings per win at 96. Doesn't give up too many, only 88. Coming in 700 below his average salary. And Moicano is right there at his average salary, basically. Hernandez, 80%. So 4 out of 5 wins, he scored over 90. 3 out of 5 over 100. And 2 of those wins over 110. So I'm not going to be as exposed to this one as, say, like maybe Derrick Lewis, Tai Tuivasa, or I guess Malkoun and Dobson was the one I'm looking for. That's going to be my highest exposed fight. I'm not going to be anywhere close to that on this one, but it's probably going to be a mid-range for me. I don't necessarily think, like, what does Computer Monk think here? He thinks it's going to be Moicano by finish. So if that's the case, I like that sub right there, and I like how he scores when he gets a sub.
Well, he's not getting a knockout.
No, I just don't like his chin in the past 5. I just don't like it. I mean, he beat Herbert and Damir Hadzovic, but he needs to avoid Hernandez. Hernandez is definitely powerful. He's got the 6th highest power index on the card, while Moicano has the 13th worst chin index on the card. But Hernandez's chin is not very good either. And in fact, Moicano doesn't have a lot of power, but he does tend to whoop people's asses when he wins. So I'll be on both probably. Hernandez for a little bit of salary leverage there just because he's a bit cheaper, but he's not so cheap that I have to, just stop playing Moicano altogether, who did make the optimal lineup in his one fight last year. So you got that going for you. Yeah, that's kind of how I think about this one. I'll have a little bit of both, but not a ton, probably a mid-range. Did you already talk about this or not? I can't remember.
I don't know, but you see this comment in chat is talking about like Jai Herbert, and I don't know why the UFC hates him because he's gonna die in his next fight.
Who'd they pair him with?
Mike Davis is just gonna murder him.
Oh Jesus!
Like, and I'm like, why? And it's in London. Like, I mean, like, what, dude? They're like, really?
Oh, it's the London card.
Yeah, like, I mean, he's gonna die, and he's gonna die like immediately. I mean, it's not gonna be like this isn't like a Khabib 3 rounds of torture fight. This is you're gonna die in like 20 seconds. So all right, like I feel bad for Herbert. It's like he probably wishes he didn't win that fight now. It's like, well, here's your reward, bro.
Yeah, here it is.
You get to fight at home, and like, by the way, don't plan on flying back to the States. Like we will
at
have,
least for a couple days.
We will have no use for your services.
We will go. There's 3 fights left, guys. Hang in there. We got a great one. The last 3 ones are fantastic, including this one, the co-main event. Derrick Brunson going against Jared
People's
Cannoneer.
main event.
The people, yeah, for sure. I love this fight.
No, Lewis is the people's main event.
Yeah, that's probably true. 6 foot, yeah, especially in Houston. 6'1", 77-inch reach, southpaw fighter is Brunson, 38 years old, 23-7 professionally, 14-5 in the UFC. 16 wins, or 16 out of 23 wins have come by way of finish. Never been subbed, but he has been knocked out. 5 of 7 losses. Jared Cannoneer, 5'11", 77-inch reach, switch stance fighter, 37 years old, almost 38 in a month and a half. 14-5 professionally, 7-5 in the UFC. 11 out of 14 wins coming by way of finish and 2 finish losses. I love Derrick Brunson here. I'm not going to lie. My spreadsheet likes Derrick Brunson a lot. He's way bigger than Jared Cannoneer. I guess I maybe knew that, but until I saw them on the stage today, I was quite surprised. Derrick Brunson, looks way bigger than Cannoneer. Obviously, Cannoneer probably looks a little more ripped. But Derrick Brunson at $7,600, I love. He's 600 under his average salary. The 2nd highest DraftKings points per win score on the card at 105.21. Doesn't give up a ton of points, 93.6. Only allows 1.88 points per minute. The $7,600 salary does win at just over 25%. So he's going to have to overcome some probabilities there. But look at these numbers when he wins, guys. 108 when he wins by knockout. 114 when he wins by sub. 96 when he wins by decision. So no matter how this fight goes, I like Derrick Brunson to score decently well in a win. 71% of his 14 UFC fights, he scored over 100 points. That's going to put you on the optimal, like 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, you get triple digits. I really love the possible value that he can get off this $7,600. Jared Cannoneer, I don't mind either. 8,600, he doesn't score well enough for me. Less than 90 points per win, barely over 2 points a minute. That 8,600 does win 75% of the time, and Puna just lost last week at that salary. So, hey, that's a bit of salary voodoo there. But Cannoneer does not score well, and his wins only, 28%. So that's 2 out of 7. He scored over 100 points. Only one time he scored 110. I'm going to be on the Derrick Brunson side for the value opportunity here. I like him to win the fight. Even if he doesn't, he could score okay. What are his points in loss? 7th highest, 21, almost 22 points when he loses. I was going to say most recent loss, but I don't even have it because he's 5-0 in his past 5 with some ridiculous numbers. 1.15 striking differential, 3.5 takedown differential, 40% control time differential. Cannoneer is negative in almost every category that I just read off. I love Derrick Brunson here for the salary upside. What do you think about the betting angle for this one?
I mean, I'm completely biased here. Brunson is making me like bank, and I got a buddy, CJ of CJ's air purifiers, mind you. If you need hot air, go to CJ. The last card that Brunson was on, the Till card, I was just hitting I was smashing like nonsense bet after nonsense bet, like Pimblet round 1, which wasn't pay a lot, but like I had Khalil Roundtree round 2, and he was hitting him with those like gross looking oblique kicks. And my buddy not a big drinker, and I'm like, look, I'm taking Brunson sub at plus 2,200. And he's like, you're a nut job. And I said, if he wins, we got to go to the bar. So buddy, he didn't like to drink, didn't like to go out. It's like, all right. And then Brunson subs him. I'm like, get dressed. By the way, you want to highlight that one? Yeah. And what happened? Brunson got him out of there. And we went to the bar, and it was terrible. But I won the bet. But I got him out. So CJ, that would be CJ of CJ's air purifier. So I'm biased here, and like there's a lot of the community seems to be like so heavy on Cannoneer this week. He's 40. Like he's a man, he's 40. I got it. Like and this seems like pretty binary. Cannoneer is gonna crush him, or Brunson's gonna tackle him for 3 rounds. The biggest factoid for me is everyone's like, well, Brunson looks so gassed at all these fights. Well, this ain't a 5-round fight. It's a 3-round fight. So you know what? If he gets 2 good rounds and then kind of like maybe screws around the 3rd, I don't know. I like Cannoneer can certainly catch him, but Brunson's decision is plus 240 here. And we talk about winning condition. That's his winning condition. Brunson's not going to finish him. Brunson is not going to sub him. Darren Till is fish out of water on the ground. Cannoneer is not. But could Brunson win a very boring decision? Yes. And plus 240 to me, that's basically his money line is great. What do you think, man?
I agree. I love it. I think this goes the distance. I don't if Brunson can take him down, I think it's just going to be like kind of the Ronnie Lawrence thing. Not so much to that degree, but Cannoneer will get up, Brunson will take him down. Cannoneer will get up, Brunson will take him down. And what do I have for get up time? Jared Cannoneer has a decent get up time, actually, 93 seconds. So that's 22nd best in the middleweight division. And Derek Brunson does not have a great hold down time, pretty much average. Does control 95% of the grappling time, though, Derek Brunson. Cannoneer less than 19%. So if Brunson can get this on the ground, I think that's it, man. I really do. It's going to be an easy one for Brunson if that's the case. I'm not saying the fight's going to be easy. If he can take down Cannoneer, it's going to be a bit easier for him. The real people's main event, co-main of the evening, Derrick Lewis going against Tai Tuivasa. Heavyweight fight, obviously. Derrick Lewis, 6'3", 79-inch reach, orthodox fighter, 37 years old, 26-8 as a pro, 17-6 in the UFC, 22 wins, or 22 of his 26 wins have come by way of finish. He has been finished 6 out of his 8 losses. Tuivasa, 6'2", 75-inch reach, southpaw stance, 28 years old, so much, much younger than Lewis. 14-3 professionally, 7-3 in the UFC. 12 wins out of 14 by finish, all 12 by knockout. Has been finished 2 out of 3 losses. I absolutely love this fight for DraftKings. I'm going to be
I bet you do.
I'm going to be rostering both sides of this. I mean, even the salary voodoo is telling me that 8,800 is a terrible salary, as is 7,400 to make the optimal lineup. I don't give a shit. I'm playing 100% of this fight probably. Just even if it doesn't end in the first round, and if Derrick Lewis wins and he only scores 80, I don't even care, man. Like Derrick, this is gonna finish in just the possible upside of it finishing in the first round, you have to roster that. I mean, this is when I did these stats odds earlier this morning, probably around 1:00 p.m. I guess it was minus 185 for the under 1.5. Minus 571 does not go the distance. These are average numbers. It's probably even worse now. If this makes it out of the first 3 minutes, I'll be shocked. is this going to be, could this be a Lewis and Ngannou matchup where they stare at each other? I don't think so. I think Ngannou was in his own head in that fight. I don't think Tai Tuivasa is the guy to get stuck in his own head. He looks ready for this one. He's said several times he wants to stand and bang. I really have no reason to call him a liar about that. So I think this one's finishing in the first round. Super easy to pick, both of these guys. I'll probably have, 55% Tuivasa, 45 Derrick Lewis, just for the price, maybe 60-40 for the big salary differential. But Tai Tuivasa at $7,400, he's $800 lower than his average salary, almost $900. Scores over 100 points per win. I mean, four fight win streak, all first round finishes except that Sakai in the last one, just barely into the second round. What else do you want from me, man? 60-40. I'm playing 100% of this fight. What do you think for betting?
I'm going to keep this short and sweet because I'm pretty sure this is a fight that nobody tuned into YouTube to get the result. You're either betting Lewis or you ain't. So I'm going to give you guys a fun fact. Maybe you don't have this in your stats. I'm 100% on the guy who thinks his cup is an NFT.
Yeah, I haven't added
and
that.
And honestly, like, what do you need? Like, what the fuck more do you need? Lewis just so here's a real thing. Who does Lewis lose to? He loses to champions. He's by the way, he has a win over the current champion.
Yep.
But who are his losses to? He loses to the elites of the division. Meanwhile, he's gonna win. He's gonna say something like so incredible. I thought my balls was hot. Was like, he's not topping this. Now his cup's an NFT. So just imagine what he's going to say with a win in his home state.
Tuivasa's already saying he'll do a cuppy. I mean, this shit has gotten ridiculous.
Look, so some of the people at home on the home box office, as they call it, are I'm old. Is it the cable, the internet
box office?
so Monk and I and two other people that you guys know that are prominent that we're going to reveal very shortly our company's formation, have decided we will never do shoey bets. We are not opposed to hair dye bets. And one of the big reasons is three of us have really nothing to lose. And one of us has a lot to lose. and it would be a gradient. So if Lewis wins and doesn't say something funny, I'll dye both of these hairs on top of my head.
And you can't it's not like a not laugh challenge. If it's objectively funny, we're all.
I'll dye the beard because I'm lazy as fuck, and I won't shave for a month. Like I'd be like, green is weird. Like, right. But I just won't shave it because then I have to do it. I don't know how Lewis just the leg kicks are there, but Lewis is gonna fuck him up.
Absolutely. And with that, we are on to the main event. Last fight of the night. We did it, Lou. Israel Adesanya, middleweight fight going up against Robert Whittaker. This is for the title, for the belt, for all the marbles. Adesanya, 6'4", 80-inch reach, switch stance fighter, 32 years old, 21-1 as a pro, 10-1 in the UFC. 15 out of 21 wins have come by way of finish. He's never been finished. Robert Whittaker, 6 feet tall, 73-inch reach, so already red flags there. 31 years old, 23-5 as a pro, 14-3 in the UFC. 14 out of 23 wins have come by way of finish, and he has been finished 3 times out of 5 losses, and one of those is to the guy he's fighting on Saturday. Why don't you go ahead and get us started off with this one?
So, what the hell is Whittaker going to do?
Wrestle.
Look, Whittaker has shown an improved willingness to wrestle, and I love Whittaker. I love. He's another guy who fights for your money. What's he going to do? Adesanya is. He is. I know he's not Anderson Silva, but close. It's in terms of ability, ways he can adjust during a fight.
Yep.
If Whittaker does adopt a takedown heavy style. Well, we've seen a guy do that. We've seen 2 guys do that. Blachowicz, who was 90 pounds heavier by fight time.
4 takedowns.
Vittori, who had 4,
Yep.
who I love. I love Vettori. But he did nothing with the takedowns, and he won 0 rounds on those takedowns, by the way. He didn't win any rounds. Like, Adesanya just got up, said, okay. And to me, Vettori is a better wrestler than Whittaker by far. If Vettori is just crazy enough where he's like, Vittori's like, I don't want to wrestle. Like, I just want to, like, he should have wrestled Costa. He's like, that's what to hit you in the face. Vittori's a crazy dude. I think Whittaker's a smart fighter. And he's a likable fighter. And he's tough. But I don't know what skill set he has any chance. And I am not the biggest Adesanya guy. I don't like his attitude. It's he's a try too hard for me in the be glamorous. But his skill set. But watching him fight. Holy smokes. Love watching the guy fight. I don't see one aspect of this fight where Whittaker has even like 50-50 odds at being better at. Do you?
No.
Like the pick is Adesanya. I'm going to take the finish under 4.5, even money, because and like you may as well take Adesanya in the distance, but it protects you from like Whittaker does throw hard. I mean, if he catches him, like it protects you, but under 4.5 at plus 100. I know we have a weird trend of like all these main events go the distance, but
it's got to break eventually.
But Adesanya, I mean, look, if Whittaker's going for a lot of takedowns, Adesanya is going to snipe him and get him out of there. And if Whittaker's dumb enough to be like, nah, I'm just going to box, Adesanya is going to tee off. I think Adesanya wants to, and I think Adesanya wants to put a stamp on this feud. Be like, we're done. Like,
no more than he says. He knocked him down. He knocked him out 2 times in his first.
Like we're done. Like we're done here.
Yeah,
he's never a contender again. What do you think? And this is a weird fight for DraftKings for you because of the salary disparity, I bet.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm gonna have to be fading Israel Adesanya. I agree with your breakdown completely. I don't think Robert Whittaker wins this fight. I mean, there's a chance he does. There's maybe 20-30% chance. People are probably freaking out that I'm making it that low, but I just think Adesanya, I mean, we've already seen this happen. And other than if you take out the Moreno against Figueiredo rematch, like, wasn't it some crazy stat that guys who are going in for rematches against the guy with the belt lose like a ton of those fights?
Yeah, it's like
80, it's usually the winner.
I think it was 84. I think it was 84.
Yeah, it's something crazy high that the winner retains the belt. So again, I'm
if it's there was a time range on that stat. It wasn't like a guy getting a rematch like.
Okay.
Against like 6 years later.
Oh, it might have been like immediate.
No, I think it was like I think because it was quantified because it was like I think there were like 2 circumstances where like a guy got like a rematch like. I forget what the circumstances were. Like it was like 2 for 2. Oh, if they have 4 years difference, like they win. Well, like they worked their way up, like they rockied their way up the division, and
right.
But this isn't that case. Like in general, no, I'm just
No, either way, like 9,200 is going to be too much for me to pay for Izzy. He only scores less than 90 points a win, scores 2.36 points per minute, and if you take out the knockdown points, he scores 1.77 per minute, which includes 0 takedown points and pretty much 0 control time and reversal points. So just striking. And if obviously about DraftKings, the scoring definitely favors wrestlers, grapplers, guys that go for takedowns, control time. Izzy is not that guy. While he is very exciting to watch, he did not make optimal lineup in either of his fights. I know he lost one of them, but didn't make it in either of his fights in 2021. He's just not the guy that's going to rack up a ton of DraftKings points, it turns out. I mean, and that's over 10 fights, 10 fight sample size that he's at that 88 number. He does have a few decent fights. Paulo Costa scored 102, but he finished that fight 2 rounds. The Yoel Romero decision 49. So that one's bringing him down quite a bit.
That was who lands 3 punches in a round wins the round.
Right.
That was awful.
The one thing that's keeping me guessing though is when he fought Robert Whittaker the last time, he was $8,000, meaning Robert Whittaker was 8,200, meaning he was the favorite in that fight. Crazy. He did score 106 DraftKings points. He really put it on him there. So if you think a repeat's going to happen, you could probably throw Adesanya in because he has proven against this specific opponent that he can score points. I just think Robert Whittaker is going to be a little bit smarter. At least I hope. I still think Izzy gets it done. I don't know. I think it goes to decision. He could finish early. I don't think it's going to be a round 1 or round 2 finish, though. So if that's not the case, he's not going to be getting a ton of bonus points, which is really what he needs to jack his striking only scoring up to where it could possibly make the optimal lineup. So for those reasons, I'm going to be fading Izzy on DraftKings, but I absolutely love him to win this fight. And as far as Robert Whittaker, I thought I would have maybe 25-30% of him, but I really don't think he wins this fight. And at that point, I'm just throwing salary away if I'm doing, a single entries or 20 maxes. You got to pick your winners. You got to pick the good spots. I don't think Whittaker's going to get it done here. I mean, what do you think his chances are of just winning the fight?
Well, it depends. I mean, like to me, honestly, the last time he fought, I don't know. Like Whittaker, to me, seems like one of the smarter, more composed fighters. But
he's showing that this week too.
No, but no. Well, that's what I wonder about, because in the first fight, like Whittaker's shown his good fight IQ, his good patience, his good entries. I think Whittaker's actually showing good entries on his takedowns. The problem is the first fight with Adesanya, he blitzed in like he's like, if I don't leave in 9 minutes, like the bomb in like my briefcase is gonna explode. Like he had no mind for defense against Adesanya.
Nope.
He rushed in, tried to land a quick bomb and get the hell out of there, which is very unlike his it's very unlike what Whittaker does. He didn't do this against Yoel Romero, who looks like he could murder you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird to me that he fought such a very weird game plan against Adesanya. If Whittaker fights his usual style, I'm not saying he wins like every time he does it, but maybe he gets one good pick around. Like,
true.
I don't think he wins, but like from a DraftKings perspective, I think we talked about this before the show. If he could have like 2 good rounds against him, maybe he gets you 40-50 in defeat. And for a 7K salary, 50 points ain't bad, man.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
It's not 10x, but it ain't bad. Like, for that salary, like you've talked about it, you're gonna have to make a concession somewhere to get probably 2 very low price guys in your lineup or 3 mediocre price guys.
Yep.
Like so do you like him? Is he gonna score better than Manny Martinez? You probably think he will.
I think so, yeah.
I'm insane. I think Manny Martinez is gonna break he's gonna break the slate. But I don't think Whittaker's gonna get finished early. So like if he could have one good round, maybe have some control times, some takedowns, he's gonna score something on the feet.
I do like him for cash lineups. Absolutely.
He's got a good floor. He's got a good floor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I absolutely like it for that. You got anything else to add on to this one?
No, I think we've kept the people here. We did a good job. We did a good job going under our runtime from last week.
That is true. That's true. Well, guys, in that case, I really want to say thank you for sticking with us. All 14 fights actually covered. And thank goodness that Perez Schnell got canceled. We could have talked about that one for 45 more fucking minutes. We would have been here over 2.5 hours. So
we sort of got lucky.
It. Yeah, at least we got lucky there. So real quick, I'll just want to say thanks again. Go ahead and find me on Twitter at MonkMMATics right there. And also I just launched a Patreon this week where I am highlighting all these stats. I have all of the game theory stats for the DraftKings. I have my entire stat sheet here, which is not DraftKings stats, just all over or all around UFC stats. Use that, pair it with your tape study, and guys, you will be winning money gambling. You'll be winning money on DraftKings. So check it out, patreon.com/MonkMMATics. At least come and give me a look. Other than that, I've got a game theory show on Tuesdays, I think. The DraftKings show with the Pub Sports Boys, Uncle Weezy, Brady, and Luke on Wednesdays. So I'm kind of all over the place now. Somehow that happened. I don't really know how it happened, but pretty much every day. What do you got for the people, Lou?
It's because you're good. That's why.
Oh, well, you said it, not me.
So like whenever Bert puts his stuff up, that's my week.
There you go.
It's, watching Bert, because that kid, he knows his
Bert,
shit.
Man.
No, the kid's good. I got nothing to plug. Some of you guys know that we're working on something.
We're not plugging it quite yet,
but it's coming soon. And my God, I've been working like 15 hours a day. I've never programmed so much in my life. it drives you insane. Tomorrow's good because I won't be programming.
True.
So if you guys do watch the fights, and we got the Super Bowl weekend, so if you guys,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
guys, be safe.
Yes, please.
Don't drive. There's Uber. But go have fun. It's a great sports weekend.
Absolutely.
Got a UFC pay-per-view, got the Super Bowl. Guys, have a great weekend, and we will talk to you next week to analyze a very, very terrible UFC card. Not a good pitch for next week's show, but spoiler alert, Parker Porter, Alan Badeau on the main card.
Oh shit. Well, with that, we will say
boys.
goodbye in anticipation, and we'll see you next time. And as always, I want you to enjoy the fights. So enjoy.
Follow me on Twitter.
At Lou Betya.
I need followers.
Do it.
Yeah, create extra accounts. I don't care. Guys, have a great night.
Later.